In our last class, we replicated this CVS flu shots poster. Today what we're going to do is reconfigure the format so it fits this banner template and looks a little something like this. First thing that we're going to need to do is open up the blank. We've got this blank template, and you can see right here on the left we've got an example. We're going to be doing that using our student poster. So first thing that we're going to need to do is use the eyedropper tool. When we do, we're going to click on the red paint bucket, and then once you return to this blank banner, you're going to create a new layer and you're going to fill it. Beautiful. Next, what we're going to need to do is create another new layer, and this step is crucial. You're going to use the marquee tool, select black, and then about 2/3 of the way down, about the bottom third, what you're going to do is create a selection, use the paint bucket, make sure you're on the new layer, Control D to deselect. That looks great. Now what we're going to do is add our image. So we did a great job before because we applied curves and we made an excellent selection. I'm simply going to click and drag. And that looks good about right there, but what we need to do is drag this layer beneath the black so it's sandwiched between the black and the red. We're going to drag it up a little bit. That looks great right there. Alright, so the next step, we're going to simply be transferring the layers over. So we could do it one by one, but that gets a little bit tedious and we want to be smart when we're doing this exercise. So we're going to be able to select multiple layers. So I can see flu shots and everyday. We want the proximity to be identical from one poster to the next. So I'm going to click on flu shots, and I'm going to click on everyday, and I can see where it is. Then I'm going to click on this white rectangle, layer 4. I'm going to hold control and then select flu shots and everyday, and I see multiple layers are selected. And then using the move tool, I'm simply going to click and drag. Beautiful. That looks great. Next, what we're going to need to do is, I see that walk in anytime is right here. We could select both the blue and the text simultaneously, but what we're going to do is we're going to add them individually. So I'm going to select the walk in anytime first, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to use the line break, the type tool, and we're going to want to make sure that this text is above the black layer. I'm going to press Control A, and just like we did before, I'm going to go to Window and then Character. And when we do, we can adjust the leading. I can see that it's still at 72 from the last time we changed it, and I want to make it auto. And in fact, I'm actually going to make it even a little bit closer than that. And that looks really good right there. And when I press check and I pull it over the black, I can see that it looks really good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control T, and I'm going to spread it out a little bit. And we want walk in right above the top layer and anytime on the black. Tremendous. Now what we're going to do is, we actually got a couple options. We could either recreate this blue square by selecting the appropriate blue and adding a stroke of 3 pixels. Alternatively, we could simply drag this new one in, and we've got it right here. And what I'm going to do is, that looks good right there. I'm going to press Control T, and that looks great. You're going to notice that the stroke, the outside line on the perimeter, is modified a little bit, but it's good enough. So now what we're going to do is, I'm simply going to click Insurance Accepted, ask for details, holding Control to select multiple layers. Oops. I'm going to drag it down, and then let's add this name. And his name is right there. I'm going to press Control T to make it a little bit bigger. Beautiful. And so that looks great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a JPEG, and you're going to see why in a moment. Save as. And you're going to want to save it, of course, as, I see it's banner blank. So what we're going to do is delete the blank, and you're going to write your first and last name. And instead of saving it as a PSD, which you should, and you should do it often, for the time being, I'm going to save it as a JPEG. That way all the layers are condensed. Great. So here we've got this JPEG layer. I'm going to close this. Great. And so here I can see we've got my version. We're going to open up this version, and this is ultimately what we're going to be aspiring for, but I sent you guys a template, and I'm going to open up the template right now. When you open it up, you're going to notice that it's the same aisle, but I already cut out all the holes for you. So what we need to do now is open up that blank, open up the image that we just created, the banner as a JPEG. I'm going to close the PSD so we don't get confused. So now I'm going to use the Move tool and drag it in. I can see that it's pretty big, so I'm going to drag it underneath the aisle. I'm going to press Control T. I'm going to make it proportional. We'll try 55%. Let's try 66. And now I'm going to rotate it just a little bit. Drag it down some. So it looks even. I'm going to press check. That looks pretty realistic. I'm going to now hold Alt and drag it over here. I'm going to press Control T. And let's drop it down to 44 this time. We're going to make it proportional. If I wanted to just to nudge it over a tiny bit, I can see that the left edge isn't completely covered. I can just use the arrows on the keyboard, and that looks tremendous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue adding this layer to this image until it looks until it's complete. All right, guys, good luck.